Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery and Locked On Sports Atlanta. Head to youtube.com, put Locked On Sports Atlanta in the search browser. Find our page, hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment. Free and available to download on all of your favorite podcast platforms, which includes Spotify, Odyssey. Download us for free today. Also, check us out now, too. Amazon Fire, Roku, we are available there. Follow me on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. Hey, there was that song, I don't know, months, year ago, whatever like that. We Don't Talk About Bruno, right, from that Disney movie or whatever like that. It was this huge #1 hit and all that kind of stuff. Not sure we talk enough about the Braves catchers and the numbers that they have put up this year for this team. Now, look, I understand that there's been DHing and, catching, and they're using them in different ways, right? I got that. But the two guys that the Braves have designated as their catchers this year, listen to what their numbers are. 680 at-bats, 34 homers, 90 RBI, 31 doubles, and this stat amazed me, 95 runs scored. Now, again, I understand DH, and at times they both play in this and the other. But that's the two guys you designated catcher and the roster spot that they take up. That's outstanding production. That feels like 1970s, 1980s catching kind of production when you had a league full. The National League was full of the Gary Carters and people like that of the world, and the Ted Simmons and guys like that. We don't see a lot of offensive production out of catchers. The other part about this, too, is Contreras has a 2.1 WAR, and d'Arnaud has a 2.2 WAR. If you're not familiar, WAR is wins above replacement. So if I put an average guy at that position, are my guys worth more or less wins with that? Now, 2.1 is a pretty good number. It's not a bad number for catchers and positional players like that. Just to give you some perspective, Ronald Acuna Jr., who we know is an outstanding player, he's only a 2.2 WAR on the season. Dansby and Riley and some of those guys are in the 5s, right? But you've gotten over a 4 WAR, wins above replacement, out of those two guys. And when you look at unsung heroes, we've talked so much about the different things that have gone on with this team. The starting pitching, the rookies, right? Riley's having a great season, right? Bringing over Olsen. He's up, he's down, he's up, he's down. I mean, Dansby's had a fantastic season, right? All the different kind of stories. Well, Contreras is in that group of, we've mentioned it here, that in that group of young guys who've come out and made a big impression, right? It's not just Strider and Harris and Grissom, right? We talk about those guys because they're pure rookies. We've never seen them in Major League Baseball. But Contreras is a guy, too, that's had no real Major League, production or chance to play or whatever like that. And he's been thrown into this position. And look, both guys have played well defensively this year for the team. And I've said before that what's going to probably end up happening is I would like to see the Braves keep d'Arnaud around here for a while. So after next year, when d'Arnaud's contract runs out, you basically flip the script, right? Contreras becomes your full-time starter. d'Arnaud becomes your paid backup at that point. I would like to see them keep these two guys together because Contreras has been better defensively, not playing those guys all the time. I think Snitker's done a really nice job of mixing and matching those two guys with being able to have them as a DH. And maybe some of that's been easier because Marcell Ozuna's not had a very good year, and he's had his problems and issues. So maybe it's made it easier. But there is a lot of competition for that DH spot, right? Especially once Ozzie gets back, there's going to be a lot of competition for that DH spot. And you're going to have to find a way to keep Contreras. We talk about all the guys you got to find. You need to keep guys like Contreras and d'Arnaud and keep their bat in line. Now, obviously, one of them is going to catch every night. But my point is, not giving one guy too many nights off because you're trying to find other DH spots. Again, we've talked about this is a great problem for the Braves. We're getting to where they've got so many guys that produce and mean something that you're having trouble finding a spot for it. We'll talk more about this in just a second. But first, let me talk about my friends over at Coffee AM. You know how passionate I am about them. I just finished up another bag of their coffee this morning, made my last pot with this other bag. So listen, I use a ton of it around here. I'm drinking Coffee AM every single morning out here. They are right here in the state of Georgia. They're up in the Canton area, a great online coffee company, coffeeam.com. Head to coffeeam.com/locked on today. Check out their full range of products. You need K-Cups, you want organic coffee, you want flavored coffee, you need tea, you need a gift set, a mug and a pug and a bug and whatever else you need. All of it is available at coffeeam.com. So when you get to coffeeam.com/locked on, I want you to check out their menu and find what you need, put together that first order. And when you do, and you get to the checkout, use the promo code, locked on at checkout, LOCKEDON. Use that coupon code at checkout, and you get 15% off your first order. 15% off by using the promo code locked on, LOCKEDON. Coffeeam.com. They are the best small batch coffee roaster in America. What's going to be interesting is when the playoffs roll around, how Snitker uses these two guys at catcher. Do you roll with d'Arnaud, let's say, and roll with him through the playoffs, or do you mix in Contreras? Contreras, when you look at, one of the things you look at is what a starter's ERA is with one guy versus another guy behind the plate. And sometimes you have a catcher, right? Remember in the old days, having a designated catcher? Remember when you had a designated catcher for Greg Maddux, right? Eddie Perez was a designated catcher, quote unquote. Now, the theory was that, well, he didn't pitch well with Javi, but when you got to the playoffs, you started Javi, and you saw that again, wasn't really that much of an issue. I know Maddux had his issues in the playoffs, but again, we're getting off track here or whatever like that. But I am going to be curious to see how Snitker, of a lot of different things that he's got to figure out with his rotation, with his lineup, who plays left field, blah, 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 right? How do you use your catchers? Do you roll with d'Arnaud and mix Contreras in, or do you split time? And when he came out a few months ago and talked about how he was going to split time with the catchers, that made all the sense in the world, because let's face it, d'Arnaud's not the youngest guy in the world. You don't want to wear him down. You don't want to wear down either one of your catchers. And when you have two guys that are as productive and you're getting as much offensively, think about it. We're talking about by the end of the season, our catching position is probably going to be 40 homers, 100 driven in, 100 scored. Now think about that. That's Johnny Bench types of numbers, 40, 100, and 100. That's outstanding production. So for all of the things that have gone right for the Braves with the rookies and Ronnie being back and this and that and Strider and bop, 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 right? The catching position has been incredibly productive for the Atlanta Braves. And it's forcing Snitker to have to make some more tough decisions about what he's going to do with those guys. And I'm not feeling bad or anything. Like, what I'm saying is these are good problems to have. These are things that are good that, hey, you know what? d'Arnaud's a little tired. Cool, I can put Contreras back there, and I'm not going to have any kind of drop-off. I need a different DH. All right, I got a left-hander on the mound. Let me put Contreras in a DH. Let me put another right-handed bat up there and take care of it. All good problems to have. So I know we don't talk about the catchers all that often here, right? But let's give a little bit of love to the Braves catchers and how productive they've been. Really an underrated aspect about this season and offensively what they've been. All right, when we come back, it is time for Algier. We'll talk about that next. Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery, Locked on Sports Atlanta.